Want to build something this weekend that looks great, feels great, and will have you thinking, why didn't I build this sooner? Well, this patio chair is your ultimate quick win project. Made entirely using 90 by 35 pine, which for my American friends, that's a 2x4, with a handful of pine decking boards thrown in for good measure. Now, the good news for you is that this is a beginner-friendly project with no fancy tools, no tricky joinery, and no big spend. G'day folks, Uncle Knackers here. Now look, whether this chair is for your deck, your patio, or even your shed, it's an absolute no-brainer. And here's the kicker. If a side hustle is your thing, you can quickly batch out a few of these at the one time and sell for an easy profit. Okay, let's get this show on the road by setting up the miter saw on my flip top miter saw workbench, which by the way, I have plans for down below if you're interested in taking a look, along with the extended saw fence, which will enable me to attach a stop block for easy repeatable cuts. With everything set up, we can then crack on and cut all the pieces for the chair. Now you'll find that most of the cuts for this project are basic square cuts, but as with all chairs, there are also a few basic angled cuts that you really can't avoid. But don't stress, as these are very easy to cut and are detailed in the plans for the patio chair, which you can find down below. Now, as we all know, a clean kitchen is a happy kitchen, and I reckon the same goes for the workshop. Take a few seconds, give it a quick blow down to get rid of all that sawdust, then we can pack up the miter saw to clear the bench and then on with assembling the sides of the chair. Now take some care with the assembly process by countersinking your holes for a cleaner finish, and do yourself a massive favour and sand all your material before you assemble. You'll thank me later. When assembling, glue never goes astray, and you'll find life easier if you clamp the pieces down when screwing together. Sorry folks, just a quick message. If you like what you've seen so far and would like to see more, do yourself a favour, hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss out on any future videos that are coming up down the track. And you'll also be doing me a huge favour. A huge favour. Much appreciated. Alrighty, back to the video. And there's your first frame done and dusted. Now just make sure that yours is nice and flat without any wobble, because if there is, it just means that something may be a little bit skew with. And while you're here, do a quick check for your diagonals, just to make sure that everything is nice and square, which this one is, thankfully. Now the next step is to make another one of these, exactly the same, and then we'll tackle the seat and the backrest. Now don't panic if you miss a step, because I'll leave a link to the plans down below if you're interested in taking a look. Okay, let's move on and attach those seat supports to the two outside frames. And like I said at the start of the video, I promised no fancy joinery, which is great as we are using pocket hole joinery, which is quick, easy, and your screws can be hidden behind the facepiece. Now here's a handy tip. Clamp a block behind the piece that you are screwing, which will hold it in place as you drive in those pocket hole screws. And as you can see, the side support slopes down toward the back of the chair, which is just a more comfortable seating position. Speaking of seating positions, the next step is to make the actual seat for the chair, again using pocket hole joinery. Another little tip, if you can manage to get your hands on one, is to use one of these pocket hole clamps, which hold the corners together during the driving in the screws process. Not 100% necessary, but a very handy piece of kit. With the seat made, it's time to attach it to the two side frames. Now, if you clamp some scrap pieces of timber under those side supports, it makes screwing the seat to the frame so much easier. And of course, before driving in those screws, a generous amount of glue is always welcome. Just quickly, you may or may not be aware, but in Australia this week, it is Men's Mental Health Week. And I just heard something that I think is well worth sharing. These are 3 of the hardest things for men to say. 1, I'm sorry. 2, I need help. And 3, Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. That. Now if you cast your mind back, I said at the start of the video that I'd be using pine slats for the seat. Well, I've had a change of heart and I've decided to go with a hardwood decking board instead. I think it just might look a little better against a painted frame. We'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed, I've made the right decision. Now to get all those pesky screws lined up nicely, I made a jig detailing the positions of the screw holes. Pre-drill these into the top of the boards and then follow up with a countersinking bit. Now this takes a little longer to do, but the end product will be well worth it. Finish up with a couple of coats of decking oil and we're good to go. To finish off the actual frame of the chair, fill in the screw holes with a bit of filler and then attach the back of the chair to the 2 outside frames. Now like the seat, the backing board is set back the thickness of the decking board, which will give you a nice flush finish. Whenever you're painting a piece of furniture, like this old chair, whether you're spray painting or using a brush, the painting process is made a whole lot easier if you can place your item on top of a turntable. Check this out. All you're going to need is a cheapest chips Lazy Susan, which you can pick up from your local hardware store, and a scrap piece of wood wide enough for your piece to sit on. Attach the Lazy Susan thingamajiggy to the scrap piece of wood, give it a twirl, and you're good to go. Now that is going to make your painting process so much easier. Great tip, knackers! Whenever spray painting furniture, having a spray tent is a game changer. Easy to put up and it keeps all the spray contained and prevents dust from settling on the wet paint. So that's it folks, the painting is done and dusted. Now just a couple of quick things if I may. If you go down the painting route like I have here, just remember you need to apply an undercoat plus 2 top coats and also consider drying time. So this way is going to take a lot longer than just simply applying a stain. And point number 2, if you're using an enamel water-based paint like I have here, if you can, and you've got one, use your spray gun, because you'll finish up with a much nicer product. If you're using a paintbrush with a water-based enamel, unless you're a pro or really good at painting, you'll most likely finish up with brush strokes, which, well, it isn't the end of the world, but it can look a little untidy if you work it too much. Okay, not far to go now folks. Using spacers and stainless steel screws, attach the slats to the chair frame. And a big tip, don't try and drive the screws in too hard, otherwise you may split the board. Now the same thing goes for the backrest. Using spacers, start from the bottom and work your way up to the top. Beautiful. There it is, folks, your favourite new chair. And trust me, once you build one, you'll want to build the whole set. And if you're interested in making one of these, I'll link to the plans down below, so do yourself a favour and check those out. And if the timber seat's a bit hard on the old tush, well, you can always throw on a couple of comfy cushions. Beautiful. Alrighty, after all that, I think I need a cup of tea. So till next time, be good, be safe, and I'm out of here. Cheers.